So investigation is crucial. This Dhamma vicaya is a crucial component of our Dharma practice. It's crucial for understanding the nature, the true nature of all things, including the illusion of the self. So it can involve looking within at the true nature of our experience, like we just did in that guided meditation, or it could be looking at nature or the world as it's unfolding around us. Investigation will flourish in different ways for different people. So in my case, it really grew and intensified when I was relating to intense body pain. When I stopped trying to get rid of the pain and surrendered to it, I began to really see the impermanence of the sensations of pain. Like I said, when I stopped trying to get rid of it, then I was able to really investigate it and bring curiosity to it. And what had appeared before as being solid and kind of unchanging, I started to see that it was actually always changing. It was in constant flux. And I saw that if I didn't push the pain away, if I didn't try to get rid of it, that it would often soften and release somewhat. Of course, this took a significant amount of time. I went through a lot of time trying to get rid of it, and it was quite some time before I actually surrendered to it and stopped trying to get rid of it. But by investigating it, by investigating how my different responses to the pain changed, sort of with the outcome of it, I was able to discern dukkha as well. So it was kind of my first real intense engagement with this Dhamma vicaya or investigation, and was able to really discern the impermanent nature of the pain and how I related to it either caused suffering or caused the cessation of suffering. And then just a little more about my personal story. In my practice, the investigation kind of intensified further when I found myself in nature, and I was paying close attention to nature, just nature unfolding around me. I would walk, sit, lie down, and I would just look. I would just gaze at nature. And over time, I began to really tune into a deeper connection with the natural world, as well as kind of I guess you could call it a subtle and almost mysterious movement within myself and with everything around me. It was kind of tuned into kind of an energy, a generative energy that was kind of indescribable, really, that was there within myself and as I said, everything around me. So I found that without any struggling or seeking, I could come into kind of an alignment with the pure being of nature, nature that I felt interconnected with. And so through nature, I was able to move kind of beyond all my concepts, move beyond all the trying, I guess you could call it, and the intellectualizing that I had been doing at the time. So nature then became kind of my catalyst for connecting, I guess you could say, to collective consciousness. And resting in nature really began a process of undoing all these beliefs and opinions and concepts and attachments that I had formed over the decades, actually, in my practice. So I found that my true being could come to the forefront. I would gaze at nature without any expectation, and I would let nature take the wheel. I saw that on a t-shirt, thought I had to throw that in. Nature, let nature take the wheel. And in the stillness, the world was really perceived as interconnected, that sense of interbeing. Now, this might seem like a strange way to engage in investigation for some people, right? Investigation of the Buddha's teachings. But it's how it unfolded for me. And as I said, it will likely be different for different people. So don't go out and try to replicate, what unfolded for me. We're simply paying attention to our inner experience and the outer experience that's part of our lives. So, I still pay attention to the natural way of things, to the rain that we just had, the rain falling, to the way water moves over rocks. I can be engaged in that for some time, for how an animal might look at me, or how my breath rises and falls. So I began to kind of really see through this investigation how this peace was within me all the time, regardless of what the mind was doing. The mind could be all over the place, but I could still kind of connect with that inner peace. And it really is available to anyone when we kind of stop and look deeply at our direct experience. So we've all had glimpses of this. We've all had it. But what happens is our brain, so set in its ways, tries to argue that peace and freedom can't be present. Truth can't be known until this or that is known, or some unanswered question is uncovered, or some apology I'm owed comes forth, and so on. So our egoic mind will find any excuse to keep us from seeing truth. It's a trick of the mind, and we all believe that something must change for us to know freedom and truth. Something must change. That's a real deep belief. But what if it's not true? What if we suspend that belief just for some moments? What if it's right here, waiting for you to recognize it in any moment? So investigation can happen right now, in any moment. It helps us to recognize truth. It leads to the direct understanding of the true nature of all things. It's seeing things as they really are in their proper perspective. The Buddha always said that investigation manifests as non-bewilderment. Non-bewilderment, because the truth kind of unfolds, and it just seems so simple, and it's so basic and so true. And the illusion of self exists because it's not investigated. The fiction of the self that's created in the brain is simply believed. Some people might believe that you can only apply this during meditation, but this is not the case. It can be undertaken any time, and my experience with nature is an example of that. It can be undertaken any time. It just involves bringing a curiosity to our direct experience, and through this we see its true nature. We see that all our experiences are impermanent. They arise and fade without our consent. They do not define who we are. They can't bring lasting happiness. If we struggle with them, we suffer. If we don't struggle with them, suffering ceases. So we really start to see all those truths that the Buddha taught in our direct experience. Right? We can see that there's no fixed, unchanging self that underlies our experience. You can just see, we look at the body, the thoughts, feelings, this ever-changing processes that arise and pass in each moment. So it's the ego, what I call the ego, the egoic mind, that identifies with thoughts and emotions, the body, physical sensations, perceptions, and so on, and creates this illusion of a fixed self. So through our meditation practice and through our practice with daily life, our practice in nature, or whatever might unfold for you, we can begin to see through this illusion and see the true nature of things. So you can investigate your experience right now, and as we did in the meditation, it's just sensing into your body. As the Buddha said, the whole universe can be seen in this fathom-long body. So you can feel any body sensations and look at them deeply. Does the sensation remain constant, or is it in flux? Always moving, eventually fading? Do you have any control over the sensations that arise? Do you get to choose which sensation rises to awareness next? If you let it be, does it intensify or soften? Does the sensation represent who you are in any way? And you can repeat this with thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, feeling tone, and so on. And just it's kind of a repetitive process that we engage in this way. The Buddha often emphasized hipasiko, which is Pali. Hipasiko translates as come and see for yourself. It's an invitation to look and test things out empirically to verify the truth or not of his teachings, to test out the truth of the nature of reality for yourself. Come see for yourself. Hipasiko. And this can be accomplished by looking at our direct experience. So it's kind of an intuitive, non-intellectual, non-conceptual realization of the truth of the mind-body, which arises through our with a foundation of practice in mindfulness. I saw that there was some similarities between Gestalt psychology's notion of productive thinking, if people have heard of productive thinking, versus reproductive thinking. So productive thinking and reproductive thinking are just two ways that they define, that decisions are made as in Gestalt psychology. Productive thinking is a quick, creative response to a situation, kind of intuitive and quick. While reproductive thinking is more deliberate, planned, based on a previous experience and knowledge. So productive thinking applied to our direct experience is very similar to Dhamma, vicaya. So this aspect of looking at our direct experience is crucial. Dhamma vicaya is not analysis. It's not figuring out. It's just about looking at what is happening in the present moment, what is unfolding right now. So it's not something we abstractly determine. There's a Zen story that I often tell, and I've told it here a few times, about a Zen master who was asked, what happens after death? The Zen master then answers, I don't know. And the student then replies, aren't you a Zen master? Shouldn't you know this? To which the the Zen master replies, "I'm a Zen master, but not a dead Zen master." So this I think why this story resonates with me so well is it really points to the emphasis on truth being accessible only through observation of our direct experience, not by some abstract thinking or philosophizing or belief systems, and so on. It's just our direct experience that's unfolding. It's a way of meeting our experience with this curiosity and openness, so that wisdom can arise and grow within us. And it's within us all. The truth is within us. It exists innately within us. So we can let experience unfold. So we're accepting what's unfolding in the present moment in its own way, in natural unfolding, and we simply look. And when we attempt to do this, you might see that much of what we call experience is actually experience that's added on by the thoughts about the first experience. Have you noticed this? So what it is it's you have an experience, and then you have a lot of thoughts, and then a reaction to the first experience. So this is simply thoughts about what is happening. It's the liking and disliking what is happening. So when we investigate, we stay with the original kind of first level experience. Of course, we notice when the mind starts to proliferate, tell stories, and there's reactions and so on. We see that, so we're not resisting it, but we're really we're coming down to this first level of unfolding experience, that immediate moment to moment experience. Ajahn Chah, the Thai forest teacher, is quoted as saying, "Whatever we do, we should see ourselves. Reading books doesn't ever give rise to anything. The days pass by, but we don't know ourselves. Knowing about practice is practicing in order to know." So the act of looking within oneself does not involve searching for anything specific like truth or God. It's not a quest for a special experience, a light show, an alternative dimension, or a heightened state of consciousness, an altered state of consciousness. We simply look and see directly, see ourselves directly. And we see our true nature beyond all illusions. And of course, we have to be careful.
I found this on the web for True Nature Beyond All Illusions. Check it out.
My phone thought I was talking to it. So be careful about getting trapped in egoic seeking. It's less about seeking truth and more about, you could say, ceasing to cherish illusions. The egoic mind does not want to know the truth because it sees it as its own demise. So be careful. Notice that as well, that the egoic mind will often put up barriers to seeing the truth. Mindfulness is the foundation for investigation, which becomes more penetrating as the mind becomes quieter. So it doesn't It's not a lot of thinking. We're not turning on the mind and thinking. It's more like turning the lights on in a dark room and seeing what's there. Or another metaphor is it's like holding your experience in front of a mirror and simply seeing what is reflected there. It can be understood as turning on the question, what is this? What is this? And letting the light of that question reveal the particulars of the present moment experience. Many practitioners, Dharma practitioners, meditators, might believe, I come across it a lot in people I teach, believe that they need to really or almost completely quiet their minds and achieve a deep state of concentration in order to investigate and then gain insights, in order to investigate their true nature. My teacher, Matthew Flickstein, one of my primary teachers, said that this is not necessarily the case. He emphasized that to move into investigation, into that almost that stage of meditation where we begin to deeply explore or investigate our experience, we don't need to attain absorption levels of concentration. We just don't have. We don't need that. The mind to be completely quiet. For many of us, this just isn't accessible. People might have been doing this for decades, and they find, my mind still, chimes in quite often. Instead, what Matthew suggested was that access concentration, which is a level of concentration where there's a momentary or moment-to-moment attentiveness. So that's enough to begin investigation. So with this access concentration, or what some people call momentary concentration, we can observe our moment-to-moment experience and gain insight into the nature of our mind, the nature of the self, the causes of suffering, and the cause of the cessation of suffering. I'd like to end with a poem by Walt Whitman. It's from Leaves of Grass, written in 1855. There is that in me I do not know what it is, but I know it is in me. Wretched and sweaty, calm and cool, then my body becomes. I sleep long. I do not know it. It is without name. It is a word unsaid. It is not in any dictionary. Utterance, symbol. Something it swings on more than the earth I swing on. To it, the creation is the friend whose embracing awakens me. Perhaps I might tell more outlines. I read for my brothers and sisters. Do you see, O my brothers and sisters? It is not chaos or death. It is form, union, plan. It is eternal life. It is happiness.